Hello everyone, we welcome you to this edition of News You Can Use, and guess what? This is our last show for the year of 2013. New Year's, even as we just begin to start this program. On the program today in our first segment, we are shining the spotlight on a gentleman who is truly someone that we're excited about in our community, who has done well, who's never forgotten from whence he's come, and he just did a reopening of his office that he's had for many years in North Philadelphia on North 22nd Street. We'll be talking with Adrian Moody, Esquire. And then a little later on in the show, as we turn the page, I'm going to do something that I haven't done since I've had an opportunity to be a host here at LaSalle TV. And that's to have Chef Darryl Milling sit by my side in this studio and talk about some holiday cooking tips. That's right, my husband will join us. So we've got a great show lined up for you today. Stay along for the ride. We'll be back with our first guest, Adrian Moody, Esquire, in just a moment. We're back. Here we go with our program for this edition of the show. If you just turned your set on, I'm Thera Martin Milling, the host of the program. This is our last show for the year of 2013 at LaSalle TV. News You Can Use, that's our name. And joining me now to talk about law, to talk about his law practice, to talk about being in business, and to encourage prayerfully some young people who might be watching Channel 56 on LaSalle TV or Channel 36 on Verizon Fios will be inspired that you can be whatever you want to be that a lawyer, a radio broadcaster, some other kind of business owner, a professor at a university like LaSalle University. You can do whatever you want to do. And so Adrian will tell us some of his story on how he got to where he is today as well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, indeed. I'm glad to have you here, and I just think you are amazing. I've known you all of my professional career. I do not remember the first time we met, but I've known you all of my professional career, so I'm talking 30 years. And the name Adrian Moody in this town holds weight. You know, when you've been around for a good bit of time and you do great work, people respect you. And so that's what I really like. And your law firm, Adrian Moody Law Firm, has been a staple in Philadelphia for what, like 30 years?
30 years. And I've been in private practice that full amount of 30 years.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about your story that you shared with me when I interviewed you for the Allegheny West neighborhood newspaper, you talked about being in college. At that point in life when you got to make some decisions, and there was an opportunity where you could have worked in city government in another state. It was like all but ready to be handed to you on a silver platter, it sounds like.
That's true. I was in St. Louis. I went to school in St. Louis University Law School, and I got friendly with the mayor's son. We used to play cards together. And he wanted me to stay and told me that, you know, Adrian, I'm sure I can get my father to find something for you to do in the administration. I decided to go back to Philadelphia. What's further interesting about that is subsequent to my leaving, a law school classmate, not a classmate of mine, but somebody I knew in law school, became the mayor. And a classmate of mine became the chief of staff of that mayor in St. Louis. So there was a reach again for me to come back. A second time, and I decided that, well, I'm gonna stay here in Philadelphia because that's where my roots were. My family had significant ties in Philadelphia because my father was involved in various businesses. And, you know, I played basketball at Roman Catholic, and my brother played basketball at Roman Catholic. So there was some name recognition associated with.
So you were a Catholic school kid too, like me.
All my life.
Yeah, all my life.
All my life.
Yeah.
College, law school, high school,
I went to Catholic
grade
school all the way through, from kindergarten all the way through college. Yep.
That's true.
Sure did, yeah. But now the other interesting part of your story, one day while you were still in college, there was supposed to be a presentation on campus for students who might want to go into law school, but you were the only one who showed up. So the gentleman who was giving the presentation, you had like one-on-one attention.
Yes, the dean, the assistant dean who later became the dean of the law school of St. Louis, came to Holy Cross, where I went to school up in Worcester, Massachusetts, and was recruiting kids to come to law school in St. Louis. And it was an early morning session, like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I showed up by myself. We got to talking, and the next thing I knew, I was in St. Louis. In the summer, I took a contract class. And back then, there was a big push to get minorities into law school. And I went in that class, and along with some other friends of mine, and we were successful.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good, and that's a wonderful bit of encouragement, I would hope, for young people who are planning on going to law school to take advantage of opportunities like the session that you went to that everybody else missed the boat on.
Well, I don't know if sessions like that exist. I mean, I went to law school 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So things were a little bit different then.
Sure.
Since that
I
time,
bet it still exists.
Well, I don't know. Since that time, people have made challenges about this whole thing about quotas and trying to make sure that minorities got into law school, and the law has evolved in such a way where quotas is like taboo. They don't want you necessarily to set aside seats for minorities to get into law school as much as it was in the past.
The other part of your story that I find to be very interesting and very special is that going back to your dad and his life, and going back to your dad's life to grade school, he met a friend who happened to be a Jewish gentleman. And your dad, African American.
And his name is Erwin Rosenzweig, and God bless his soul. He was my mentor, taught me the ins and outs of what I would consider the practice of law, something that...
So he was an attorney.
Correct. And there are things that you don't learn while you're in law school that you need to learn once you get out here to try to understand how this business really works. And he and my father were grade school classmates, and they've known each other. My father is 92 years old now. And they had a long history. They were in business together. So when I came out of law school, my father suggested that I go and mentor with Irv, and I'm glad I did. I worked for him without pay. I would follow him around and go to meetings. I learned the real estate business, the personal injury business, and I learned how to be a litigator. So I learned a lot around him and being associated with him and his various connections in the legal community.
And that's special too, because some people who have the knowledge and the wisdom, have been there, done that, don't want to mentor, don't want to share, don't want to give anybody else an opportunity to come up. But it sounds like in the case of this gentleman, he did exactly that. He
did, and in theory, what's missing, as far as I'm concerned, with young lawyers, is mentoring. There's a lot to learn if you mentor with an established person who is willing to share information in terms of what this business is all about. I feel like I had an advantage over a lot of lawyers because of my mentoring and was exposed to a lot of things early. And it helped me in terms of developing my practice, because I learned early what I wanted to do. I decided on a certain path, and I still have my bumps in the road, which is normal and expected, but you have to endure.
Well, for many years, the sign on North 22nd Street at your location read, Adrian Moody, Esquire, Law Firm. Now it is, not that it's a sign on there because it's so fabulous, it's so remodeled and stuff, but you have a partner, Stacy Shields, Esquire, is your partner now. And then you have other attorneys who work under your law firm.
As of counsel, that is correct. Stacy has been with me, I think, now 12 or 14 years. There's Isaac Green, who, like myself, has been practicing law about 25 to 30 years. And I have an association with a guy named Robert Miller. These are people who I've known a long time. They do different things. They bring a variation to the practice. And it's a nice working relationship.
So when people come to your office, give me the address. I should know about heart.
2958 North 22nd Street.
2958 North 22nd Street. They come with a myriad of different issues. Maybe somebody wants a divorce. Maybe somebody's trying to get a will done. Maybe somebody has some criminal issues to address or whatever. You got some of everybody in your office with the expertise in the various areas to address it.
Well, as long as I've been in practice, I have done a lot of different things with regards to law. So I have decided to kind of tailor my practice to a certain area, but we are able to accommodate most things because we're a community-based law firm. And in the community, you have to be able to service the community with all those types of issues. And the lawyers who are associated with us have a varied experiences, and therefore we can accommodate most folks. And if we can't, we have relationships with other lawyers, and we don't have a problem saying, look, I have somebody who I think can help you, sure, and you should contact this person.
Well, you are to be applauded for never forgetting from whence you've come, for staying in the community when you could have said years ago, 22nd Street, see you later, I'm downtown now, I don't need to be in North Philly anymore. But you've always remained, you keep that office open, and you have turned around in the last 6 months or so, you and your partner, and gutted the place out, totally remodeled it, and it looks like a museum of African art.
Well, you know, I like an environment that's tasteful. Mm-hmm. I like an environment that invites discussion. I like an environment that makes people feel comfortable, so when they come there with those problems that they have, they can see the art around them, and it will make them feel at ease. Yes. And it just takes that starchiness, mm-hmm, out of the business that we are involved in. And so it's a comfort situation, and it's a proud office, and I take great pride in, I should say we take great pride in making sure that it's professional, it looks professional, mm-hmm, and we want folks to respect the office, mm-hmm, and therefore respect themselves. Yes. That's important to me. And
please give us the address again on North 22nd Street and the phone number for Moody and Shields Law Firm.
It is 2958 North 22nd Street. The phone number is 215-735-2400 or 215-223-3744.
Thank you for sharing your information today. Thank you for being a role model in our community. And we've run out of time. I didn't get to talk about all the things I wanted to with you, but I'm going to get you to come back in. And maybe next time you'll bring your fabulous partner with you, Stacey Shields, Esquire.
I will bring her.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, too. Merry Christmas.
Okay, Merry Christmas and all that good stuff. This is News You Can Use right here at LaSalle TV. I'm Thera Martin Milling. We'll be back in a moment, and another Milling will join us up here on the set. Oh, boy, here we go.
For others, it may have just been a summer job. But for me, it was training. Now I'm an Air Force pararescueman, and my job is to save lives. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Oh, hey, bud. Where are you headed?
Just gonna hang out.
With Gary and Todd?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask you, is there any drinking going on in this crowd?
No.
If any of your buddies ever pressure you to take a drink, just tell them you promised your dad you wouldn't. I'd do anything to keep you safe.
Okay, I will.
I hope this is working.
I promise. Love you too, Dad.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That changed my life.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard.
We're soldiers, always ready to protect our country. But we've also got communities. Family, friends, neighbors who count on us. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life. Somebody from my hometown.
See what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
The torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans.
The American dream need not forever be deferred.
It's the richest and the most powerful country.
Back now as we come into the final segment of our program for the year of 2013, the last News You Can Use edition being taped for this year, and we can never say thank you enough to LaSalle University for allowing us to do the show here at LaSalle TV. Chef Darryl Milling joins me right now. He is my husband, and thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this show for 3 years, and it's the first time I had you on. I didn't want anybody to say nepotism, right? But it is wonderful to have you today. And certainly at this time of year, the holiday season, be it Christmas or as we're coming into Thanksgiving, folks are thinking about the food, the food, the food, the food. I said Thanksgiving, I meant the New Year, Christmas and the New Year.
I know what you meant.
So entertainment food, what advice or suggestions could you give for somebody who's having an office party in the office, not at a club somewhere, and they may have a budget of about $1,000 for 20 staff? What can somebody do? Give us some quick tips.
Well, the first thing they can do is they can call me. And if they don't want to do that, then they can just get some simple hors d'oeuvres. There's some simple frozen hors d'oeuvres ready that can be served out of a microwave or out of a small toaster oven in the office. And they make a very nice presentation. You can do something like that, very inexpensive.
Now, when you say frozen hors d'oeuvres, if you don't know what you're buying, you can get the wrong brand and it's a horrible taste.
Well, when you get to certain stores, like they have them, and there's a list of what they have, and it's very well defined on the box on what it is. I mean, I've gone and I have used some. Then there are some fresh hors d'oeuvres. So you have to be careful in what you're looking for, but more so, you have to kind of know what you're looking for.
Okay, let me just share a quick experience with you, which I think you may remember from a couple of years ago. I was asked to put together a little reception for a political campaign, and they didn't have a big budget. They gave me next to nothing to work with, but we still wanted to do something nice. So I did a sandwich tray of hoagies that I got from one of the local grocery stores, and then I also got a fruit tray from a local grocery store. And very embarrassing to me was that when people started eating the food from the fruit tray, it was sour. Yes. And I was very disappointed. And again, embarrassed because we're serving food to folks. So that in and of itself has made me feel turned off to purchasing fruit trays and stuff. Like I'd rather do my own, so I know exactly when this fruit was cut. I know how fresh the fruit was, etc.
Well, that's the best way to do it. When you buy a pre-made fruit tray, you run into the problem of how long has it been. And after a while, fruit starts to ferment and it's starting to turn into acid, and that's when you get that sour, bitter taste. And yes, I'm sure that can be quite embarrassing. You're trying to impress some people at a party, and all of a sudden they bite into some sour fruit.
Right. Okay, so then for holiday entertaining at home, let's say a couple has just gotten married and this is the first time they're having a holiday event at their home. They're entertaining for the family, and they're not a person who's trained in culinary arts like you, and they don't have the budget to hire a caterer or someone to come in. What do they do?
Kiss. Kiss means keep it simple, sweetie.
Okay.
Just do simple foods. Do a baked chicken, a rice, and a green vegetable. And to even make your salad more simpler, you do a Caesar salad. Just romaine, croutons, and Parmesan cheese, and you just keep things very simple. And that way you'll keep your budget in control, and it'll make you look like a chef.
Now, some folks like to get away from because we just had turkey at Thanksgiving. Almost everybody I know in America has turkey at Thanksgiving. So you're coming into Christmas and the New Year. Some people I know fall back on turkeys. Like me, I want to get away from the turkey.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. My students, we're doing a Christmas party, but we're doing a barbecue Christmas party. We're going to have ribs, we're going to have barbecue turkey, we're going to have fried turkeys. So we're doing non-traditional things that, like you say, everybody eats turkey and ham now. So we're just taking it up a notch.
Okay. All right, I want to move away from the entertainment preparation to talk about supermarkets and shopping and good sense that we should all have around food. You and I went shopping recently. We won't mention this store, supermarket, well-known, popular store, and I love the store. But I am beginning to see things with a different eye since I've been married to someone such as yourself who has all this culinary arts training experience, executive chef and all of that. Credits behind your name. And we were at the counter where we were ordering meat, and we were waiting because there was a little bit of a line, so we're looking, and looking into the glass case. There were salads and stuff that clearly looked like they had been sitting out for hours and hours. They were turning a different color on top, and you could see that the salad was another color underneath. And it literally turned my stomach. And it made me feel like I don't think I want to buy a salad from there as much as I love this store. People need to look at that kind of stuff when they're shopping, right?
I remember that incident. The first thing that I noticed was wrong, that the salads were just thrown in a plain bowl. There was no garnish, no decorations around the bowl. And what happens when you put these things in this refrigerated case, the air hits the top of it and it starts to make it hard. And it dims the color, especially like on egg salad. It dims the color and then it's not stirred, and you have to constantly mix it up. And it just sits there, and it just sits there.
The tuna fish, the chicken salad,
yes,
all of it
all looked bad.
And it was a weekend.
Yes, but that's no excuse.
It's no excuse.
It's no excuse because it's a weekend. There's someone back. There were 4 people back there at that time. So.
Okay, but as shoppers, as consumers, going into supermarkets and delicatessens and places like that, we need to be aware of this. Pay attention. Don't stand there and watch somebody take something that looks old and tired and they stir it up and they say, here,
you can ask them to bring out something fresh. Also, that particular food is always in the deli side. And what people need to know is when you go into these stores and that slicer is dirty, you as a consumer have the right to ask them to clean that slicer. Because what if I ordered roast beef, which is usually rare, so it's bloody, and you come behind me and you want turkey, and if that slicer is not cleaned, you're going to get some of the blood from the roast beef on it, and the same with cheese. And something that I'm not sure if people know, but in the city and county of Philadelphia, it is the law when making ready-to-eat foods such as hoagies, cheesesteaks, etc., you wear gloves. It is the law. So you can request that they put their gloves on. Wash their hands first, of course, sanitize, then put the gloves on.
Okay, all right. We're running out of time, so I want to flip back to the entertainment food for just a second. I'm imagining. I always say this incorrectly. It's a French word,
It's mise en place.
Mise en place.
Mise en place, which is French for everything in place. And what that means is to prepare your dish, have all the items and ingredients right there, and that saves you from running crisscross in the kitchen. And it makes your day go a lot smoother. So it's mise en place, everything in place.
So when I watch Rachel Ray, or when I watched you when you were on NBC 10 doing a chef spotlight one day, you had everything was chopped up. The green peppers were already chopped, the onions were already chopped, everything was like in order.
Everything was mise en place. So all you have to do now is just cook and walk through it. If you're doing a demonstration, you can just tell them, hey, a quarter cup of onions, a quarter cup of tomatoes, and everything is right there, and it's real simple.
Okay. Now, as an executive chef, and again, I hear young people all the time talking about they want to go to culinary arts school, they want to become chefs. It seems to be a really hot, popular thing these days.
Yes.
But aside from being able to take the education you get from doing what you do, cooking in restaurants or teaching at a culinary arts school like you're doing currently, you can hire yourself out for private catering.
Yes.
You can hire yourself out with the knowledge that you have to help people put together kitchens if they're starting a new program or something.
Another part of my company is we help design kitchens. I teach Serve Save. And before you can become a chef or a cook, you must know how to keep the food, the kitchen, and the equipment, and yourself safe. That's the main thing that I'm teaching right now. I'm also doing cooking lessons. And again, we design kitchens, we remodel kitchens, we do menus, whatever needs to be done. If your restaurant is struggling, my company will help you get it back on the map.
I've got a smile on my face. I'm thinking about you and how when we're driving around sometimes and we may go past a restaurant or whatever, a place where food is, and if you see the cook or the chef outside smoking a cigarette and you look at their jacket, their chef jacket or their apron, and it's all dirty and nasty, you just go off. I think in your next life, maybe you better be a City of Philadelphia health inspector or something, because you are very sharp on all that, and you've warned me. He warns me, don't go eat there, never eat there. As my wife, you better not ever eat there because that place is nasty.
Well, being a Serve Save instructor and a culinary instructor, and even in culinary school, the first things you're taught is when you leave the kitchen, your apron comes off. And so many times at these local restaurants, I see guys outside on the break smoking with their apron on, the apron is filthy. Then I'm like, okay, you're gonna go right back in there and go back to work behind the counter. Oh.
And just like in the medical places or anywhere these days, we gotta wash our hands 50,000 times a day. Keep your hands clean.
Hand washing is the major way to prevent cross-contamination in the kitchen.
Okay, all right, well, I am being given the signal that my time is about up for this year of 2013 on News You Can Use. If people want to be in touch with you, how can they do that?
You can reach me at area code 267-582-3886. Or you can by email at chefdarryl@gmail.com.
Sounds good to me. Thank you for coming in, husband. I appreciate you and I love you.
I love you too, baby.
And we're going to stay in prayer as a family for this year of 2014.
Yes,
we're going to stay in prayer for our city, for our nation, and for this world, because sometimes it's just a crazy place to be.
For our president, definitely.
Yes, indeed.
Amen.
And to all of our viewers here at LaSalle TV 56 and at Verizon Fios 36, we thank you for supporting this program, News You Can Use, and all the LaSalle TV. Everybody have a happy holiday season and a safe, a blessed, and a prosperous new year. Take care.